Hello everybody, it is Hansel FPS here, aka your number one scrup. That's right, I've taken the title from main man Sui. I am now the number one scrup in the game. It only makes sense. It only makes sense if you see how long I've been playing. It only makes sense for me to be the number one. Anyways, weird tangents aside, today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the basics of how to do juggle combos in Tekken. There's a lot of really basic Tekken mechanics that I don't really see ever being thoroughly explained. Nothing wrong with that. I don't think the player base is malicious or anything like that. It's just that a lot of really experienced players take this kind of stuff for granted. So they forget that when you're a new player, all these things that you take for granted as an experienced player, new players don't really know about. And that could be something as basic as what are the basic components of a juggle combo, right? Because what a lot of you new players might not know, and I didn't know when I first started playing, which was pretty recently, is that basically all juggle combos are built up by the same three building blocks. They are. So once you know these three building blocks and how to implement them, you can basically jump from character to character and quite quickly pick up or create your own juggle combos, which is obviously very useful because, you know, getting a good whiff punish, launching your opponent with a counter hit, and then following that up with a combo, that's really how you make your shots count in this game, how you make your damage count. You really do need to know how to do a decent juggle combo. You know, it doesn't need to be something extreme, but you know, maybe a good 50 damage doesn't hurt. You need to be able to do this, you know, to get the most out of your whiff punishes and your counter hits and stuff like that. You really do need to be able to make the most out of launching your opponent, and that is where juggle combos come in. So you might see people on the internet, you know, doing all these fancy juggle combos.
And Lee gets really good damage from his Magic 4. That's 62 damage from an 11 frame counter hit launcher, and again at a wall it really hurts.
So you might be like, well, how does that work? Because it never works for me. Well, good that you came here today and asked the question, because I'm gonna answer it. So you might have run into a situation like this. You get a nice launcher. You start hitting your opponent, and all of a sudden your opponent kind of gets out of your range. He leaves your range, right? And combo's over, right? And you're like, well, shit, you know, what am I gonna do now, you know? And I picked Asuka here because she has pretty low execution, no execution at all. So she's a good character to use as an example. Good question. So the way Tekken 7 is designed, you can only do the same attack on an airborne opponent for a while. After that, they will kind of slip out of your range and get knocked down to the ground. This is made so that you can't just spam the same move over and over again and get like a full combo, you know. Like imagine if you could just launch somebody and then just spam a jab string at them indefinitely. That would be very stupid. So in order to combat this, you can only do it a few times. You can only do it a few times and then they fall away from you. Such is the nature of Tekken 7's juggle combo system. I want to apologize also for my pretty bad execution. I might drop some combos here and there. That's just what happens when you're new to the game. I've only been playing for like 2 months, but whatever, I digress. So, you can't just spam the same move forever and ever. Well, what do you do after you've launched somebody? Well, after you've launched somebody, and a launch is just any move that makes your opponent like airborne and sets them up to be comboed. So this is a launcher because, as you can see on Mr. Kasia's status, he's airborne. Any moves that gives them the airborne status, you're dealing with a launcher. You know, if it just simply knocks them down somehow, if it just simply knocks them down without basically any opportunity of you being able to get to them in time in order to combo, such as this move. He's technically airborne, but he's knocked so far back that the idea that I would do a combo off of this move is completely, like, borderline, you know, impossible. So this is not really a launcher. You're dealing with a knockdown move. So there are moves that knock down, that just send them straight to the ground. And then there are moves that launches, moves that put them airborne and set them up to be comboed. So that's the first move that a combo is made out of. It's a launcher. See that? Launcher. It makes them airborne and sets them up to be comboed. That's the first component of a juggle combo. Now, second component, and this is what a lot of new players don't know about. If you go into the move list, you can see that some moves have a green icon next to them. What's that green icon? That means that this move is a corkscrew. What do corkscrews do? It corkscrews your opponent. Okay, makes them do a little spin, just like a corkscrew does a spin. What's the point of doing this? Well, corkscrews allow you to extend your combos. So, corkscrews, here you have the second part of a combo. So the first part is the launcher, which can be something like Asuka's down forward 2. Second part of a combo, which again a lot of new players don't know about. This is how you extend your combos further, because you might you do that launch and then do a couple of jabs and oh, he's out of my range. Well, if you do a corkscrew, that extends your combo. You can do more moves. So that's the importance of corkscrews. So part 1 of a combo is a launcher. Second component, a corkscrew. Allows you to extend your combo. And this is very important because again, otherwise you run into this problem we talked about before, where you launch somebody and all of a sudden they're out of your range and you can't do any more moves. Corkscrews allows you to keep comboing even after your opponent hits the ground. So if you launch somebody, as you can see, even after he hits the ground, I'm allowed to keep comboing. That's what corkscrews do. They allow you to keep comboing even after your opponent has hit the ground, whereas usually after your opponent has hit the ground, the combo's over. You can't do anything anymore, as you can see. But with a corkscrew, as you can see, even after he's hit the ground, I can keep on comboing. So that's why they are so important. So that's the second part of any combo. And then the last part, of course, is after the corkscrew, you do an ender, right? Just any move that like serves as a way to end the combo is an ender. You know, it can be something like that, right? That's like a good ender, for example. Preferably a mid, because after the corkscrew, they won't be as far up in the air. So after the corkscrew, a lot of highs will whiff quite badly. So, you know, you preferably want your ender to be some sort of mid, maybe a low. So, this string, for example, or this string, or this string. Okay, so we have our launcher, which puts them up in the air. We have our corkscrew, which allows us to keep comboing even after our opponent hits the ground. And we have our ender, which is just the way to end the combo. These 3 components make up the basic 3 components of any combo in the game, meaning that once you know these 3 components, you can basically hop from character to character and be able to quite easily, or not quite easily, you know, different characters have different levels of execution, but you can at least understand, okay, this is how combos work now. And you'll be able to implement these 3 components. Sorry, English is not my first language, it is Swedish. You can implement these 3 components on any character, so this is important. So now we just put it all together. You know, we start with the launcher, then we go into a corkscrew, and then we do our ender. It's pretty simple. So here we go. Let's start. And boom, that's a basic juggle combo. Now, of course, you can add more hits for extra distance, and you can add more complex moves for extra damage. But I just wanted to show you guys the basics. A launcher, such as down forward 2. A corkscrew, such as 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And an ender, such as forward forward 1, 1 plus 2, or forward forward 2. Sorry, forward 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 2, 1 is an example of an ender. Forward forward 2, 1 plus 2 is another example of an ender. So pretty simple. So then you just put it all together and you have your basic juggle combo. Now that you know these 3 components of any juggle combo, you can just start making up your own as you go. So let's just get started, I guess. I'll just show off the combo one last time. Oops, I whiffed it because I am recording. There we go. So I hope this video was at least a bit informative and you now understand the basics of how juggle combos work in this game, how the juggle combo system works in this game, and hopefully now you can start creating your own combos, or at least gain a deeper understanding of the combos made by other people, other creators, and the sample combos that you have. Hopefully you have a bit of a better understanding now. Well, that was all. Have a good day. It is very cold in Sweden. I'm sick. Oh man, it's gonna be a bad Christmas.
Shut up, hella scrupman.